Hi everyone, today we'll be discussing SA 500 audit evidence. In an auditor basically does so many procedures. Yes, and that is called the audit procedures. Yeah. Due to this procedure, he will be collecting some data, some proof, yes, some supporting evidences, and this is called the audit evidence, which actually helps in framing his opinion. Only based on these audit evidence, he's expressing his opinion. Let's see what are the audit procedures that he has performed to obtain the audit evidence. The audit procedures are basically categorized into two: risk assessment procedures and further audit procedures. Risk assessment. What is the risk associated with that? So he'll be just looking on to the entity, understanding the entity and its environment in order to what? To identify the risk of material misstatements associated with that particular entity. Yes, that comes in the first hand. And second comes the further audit procedures apart from the risk. Now, this further audit procedures can be categorized into two. First thing is compliance procedures. Compliance procedures actually focuses on the operating effectiveness of the internal controls. On the first hand, we identified what all are the risks associated with this. Now we are analyzing how effective the internal controls in the entity is, and that is why the compliance procedures are also known as test of controls. Okay, so that was the first division of the further audit procedures. Now, further audit procedures have another category called substantive audit procedures. Now, here comes the accounts part. Until this, the auditor was just evaluating the risk associated, internal controls, all those things. Now, he is looking onto the books of accounts. Now, he wants to verify the books of accounts. Yes. For this, substantive audit procedures are categorized into two. First one is test of details, and the second one is analytical procedures. Let's deal with the analytical procedures first. What is analytical procedures dealing about? It basically analyzes the data along with its attributes. For example, in this particular year, I'm having 100 employees and my salary cost is around 1 lakh rupees. Okay, 100 employees, 1 lakh rupees. If when I checked my previous data, I was having only 50 employees, 50 numbers short, but my salary was running around 2,50,000 rupees. So there is a variation in the data. Actually, according to my increase in the number of employees, my salary cost also should have been increased, but now there is a variation. So this can provide some sort of misstatements over there. That is providing some audit evidence, and that is called the analytical procedures and analyzing these data. Now comes the test of details part. In the test of details, we'll be actually checking all the financial statements elements, that is, asset, liability, expense, income, all those things. So this can be categorized into two again. Test of transactions will deal with the checking of the income and expenses, and the second part comes a test of balances, which actually checks the assets and liability balances. Yes, so that's it all about the audit procedures. Okay, now comes the audit evidence. How to obtain an audit evidence? Methods of obtaining audit evidence are basically seven in number. Okay. The first one is inspection. What? We'll be just examining the records or documents, maybe internal documents or external. It can be in paper form, electronic form, or maybe even physically examining an asset. That's also form parts of inspection. Next is observation. What is observation? That is basically dealing with looking at a process or procedures that is performed by others. We are looking on to what others are doing. Okay, so physical verification of inventory is an example of observation. Then comes external confirmation. What is external confirmation? We'll be getting direct written response from the third party, so that provides a documentary evidence. Okay, so it can be in paper form, electronic form, any other medium also, but that should be written. Now, the basic method before going for this inspection, observation, external confirmation, before all these three, we'll be going for inquiry. That is, we'll be asking the management about various questions we are having. So it can basically it looks at the seeking information from the knowledgeable persons, both maybe financial aspects and non-financial aspects also, maybe within the entity, outside the entity. Okay, so it can range from formal written queries or informal oral conversations also. Yes, and this inquiry is something that is used extensively throughout the audit. Okay, at every stage of audit, inquiry is there. And one another important thing is evaluating the responses to the inquiries is very integral. We should actually see what are the actual responses of these inquiries, what is the outcome of these inquiries. Okay, By inquiring only, sometimes we'll be having some data with our hand, but when we inquired only, we came to know that this is something that is different. Either it can be corroborating with the current evidence, or this is something different from that has previously possessed. Maybe it can differ significantly from other audit evidences. By inquiring only, we came to know all these things. On the basis of this, auditor can decide to whether modify or perform other additional procedures also. Yes, when inquiring about the management, auditor can actually see the past history of the management. Maybe if the management is going for a particular estimate or something, why they have choose to do so and all. All these things can come under inquiry. As I said, this can be written representations also, and that can be oral inquiries also. Now we completed four steps: inspection, inquiry, external confirmation, and observation. Now comes the other three: recalculation, reperformance, and analytical procedures. Analytical procedures we have already seen in the types of audit procedures. Yes, it is basically the evaluation of the financial information by understanding the financial and non financial data involved in this. So, that was just an analysis of the attributes. Now comes the recalculation and the reperformance. Recalculations means just checking the mathematical accuracy. Accuracy will be checking by just adding or something. Yeah, numericals will be checking. Reperformance means the auditor is individually, like independently executing something that has already been performed by the management. For example, the bank reconciliation statement has already prepared by the management. Now, the auditor, without looking onto that reconciliation statement, he'll be preparing a reconciliation statement on his own, and he'll be just cross checking so that he can understand if there is any variation in that. Yes, so that is all about the methods of obtaining the audit evidence and factors that indicates the reliability. The more important thing is these audit evidence should be reliable, no? So reliability of the audit evidence is increased when it is obtained from a independent sources outside the entity rather than an inside information. It is more